My father was in World War II. I had two uncles that were in the service. My brother-in-law was in the service, and I felt it was my duty uh, to do my part and to serve my country, and that's the reason. I was stationed with the 4th Infantry Division, who was at Pleiku. Uh, After about 4 or 5 months, they moved their headquarters to Ankei. Uh, I wasn't there very long because we were in the field, so, but that was headquarters. In the beginning, I really didn't comprehend why they were involved, other than the communists were trying to take over. The South Vietnamese didn't want them in, and we were trying to help them not be taken over. That was my understanding uh, at the beginning, uh, and that's, I thought, good enough reason to go help them. So. It's kind of tough because it's kind of like here. A lot of them were glad you were there, treated you with respect. A lot of them just wanted to make their life, their living, and they didn't care one way or another whether you were there. Most of them were friendly. Most of them trying to make a dollar off of you. I was impressed with the mountain yard people. Out in the field, they are similar to, for us, would be Native Americans. They live in little huts out in the jungle that are raised up off so that tigers can't get in. And they were very good people. They were just as friendly. They loved us there. The kids loved us there. They were willing to help you in any way they could, and they were good fighters. If they volunteered or helped you in any way, they were good. So I was impressed with them more than anybody. Less impressed with Vietnam, South Vietnamese soldiers. They kind of took advantage of us. Anytime we'd have a perimeter set up, they were in the middle. Anytime a helicopter got there first, they were there on the helicopter first to get out. So my impression of them weren't real strong. I thought they could have been better soldiers, or did a little more for their country rather than us have to do it for them. But there were some good ones, as always. But that was just my general opinion. My perception was the same as when I went over. I felt like we were doing what we needed to do. We needed to keep communism from spreading, and I still felt strongly that we were doing the right thing. Maybe not with the right people, but anything to keep the communists down. What part I did see, I didn't like any of it. They were very suppressive, cruel, and they didn't mind taking innocent lives. I know they portray the American soldier as that, but we were very considerate, I guess, really, or we were careful most of the time. Of course, where I was in the Central Highlands, the jungle, usually what was out there was not friendly, so it was a little easier for us there. I received one Purple Heart. Why? Because you're wounded in action. That's what a Purple Heart is. A Purple Heart is, if you're hospitalized because of your wound, you're given the Purple Heart. In June 18, 1969, we were deployed into a place called Mangyang Pass. There were several French killed there years before. And we were crossing a ridge that we didn't want to, but it was kind of bare, except for one big old tree out, over it. So we crossed the ridge, and as I hit the top of the ridge, they dropped RPGs, which was rocket-propelled grenades. One hit the tree behind me. I was blown to the ground, as was several others. I took this strap off my rucksack. I took this strap off my rucksack and noticed that blood was shooting out the back of my shoulder. I hollered medic and pulled the strap off, peeled a bandage we always carry with us on it, and stuck it on there and trying to stop the bleeding. And then, trying to watch if anybody was coming for us. He was way down the ridge, but as all the medics did, they never thought of themselves. They came running, and he came over and put the bandage on there, and we got the blood stopped. And then the initial impact wasn't, it was just thrown to the ground. But then when you turn around and see the blood, and then searing, burning, and that's just kind of what it does. It just burns right through you. And so then the pain hit. But he got it taped up. We fought for, it seemed like an hour, but it was probably 5-10 minutes. They ran off, and then they couldn't airvac us out, so we had to walk nearly a mile to get to an airvac where they could medevac us out. That's how I got the Purple Heart. I don't think that any president knows what he's doing unless he's been to war. I think it shows a good president if he chooses the people to run it. I think they were in over their head. And I think they kind of didn't think the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong were that strong. But when you're fighting for something, like they were fighting to change their country, and we were fighting just to keep them from, their reasoning was they're more willing to give their lives for that than we were for their other country. And that's just the way it is. They had a purpose. So it made it extremely hard there. And they were extremely crafty too, so then I got off. What was the question? The president, yes. And the president will only he can only hear what they tell him. And they have what the Army's telling them, or the armed forces, and then they have what the civilian population is hollering about. And I just don't think that the president's understood it well at that point. I'm just thankful that I lived in Texas, and Texas people are a little different. I had stares. I never had anybody spit on me, thank goodness. Would have reacted badly to that. But I had so many when you got home saying, "How many did you kill over there? Or, how many, did you just mow them down?" It was just senseless, and you got tired of that. Or did you kill any kids? And things like that. They were very, I don't know, inconsiderate. You just don't want to talk about anything that you. But I kind of got in the airport quickly, and I got it. Sister and brother-in-law were there, and I got out as quickly as I could, so I tried not to deal with any of the crowds or anything. But later on, just other people didn't like it. Never thought we got the credit that we needed. And then a lot of the boys got treated wrong. I mean, anybody that spit on you for doing your job, is wrong. And it's, that's just the way it is. Well, it's made me more proud to be an American. I know that you hear the word free all the time, and there's nothing free. I've lost friends over there. There's a lot of boys that didn't come home, and they paid for it. They're paying for freedom now. And we have boys over there now that are paying for the freedom. There's just nothing free. But the sad thing about it is it's going to be that way. And we just thankful now that we have those guys and gals that volunteer that'll do that. I think it made me a better person, a more appreciative person. And you can see it matured me rather quickly. Like I say, I was 18, the youngest one in my company for a long time. And so, yeah, I grew up quick. And but you say you wouldn't take the world for the experience, but you really wouldn't want to go through it again either, So, and it structured me a lot, but I always stood up, and I always my country is right, and we got to do what's right. And today there's still the same little countries that we are trying to save, and if we don't do it, who will? Well, it comes back to, like we talked a while ago, I wish they perceived the American soldier better. The boys deserved a lot of credit. I've seen a lot of brave guys, and I think they deserve all the recognition they can get. I'm glad to see we finally start recognizing some of our Vietnam soldiers now, and but I think we appreciate it, but it would have been a whole lot better when we came home. And I think that made a lot of people second guess themselves. I know it wasn't a volunteer army; it was all draft mostly. So, you could have a strong opinion about whether you served or not correctly. But these guys were great. They were I never seen anybody run. I never seen anybody cowered out. They were great, just good soldiers. I had a captain when I'd like to mention him. Uh, 1 month, I was there a month. Uh, Captain Daughtery was my commanding officer, and he probably saved the whole company at one time. We were sent in to recon a heavily jungled area. It was unknown to them. Well, the special forces told them not to send the companies in. They thought it was pretty infested. But the higher ups decided that we needed, so they sent in 3 companies. I was in Delta Company, and we were to recon. Alpha Company came in and were the unluckiest bunch. They landed, they started, and these were mountains more than hills. They started up the hill and immediately run into a full-size regiment, probably 1,600. That was their headquarters, 66th Regiment. And they were immediately shot down, like 26 dead out of the 100, and the bunches wounded. They tried to fight their way back down. They were in the trees shooting down, bunkers, machine guns. We were 2 hills over. We had to help them. So we traveled at night, and you never travel at night over there because they're setting up ambushes for you. They can hear you, and besides that, you were going up, down valleys, up hills, and we missed our mark. And that was a saving grace. Captain Daughtery said that it was God's will that we missed the top of that hill. And we came out later that morning on top of the hill. It was well traveled, wires for communication across it. You can see where elephants had brought in supplies. And it was late, but yet we needed to go over and help Alpha Company. We were the closest ones. Bravo tried to come in with helicopters, and they just ripped them to pieces. They couldn't land. So we started down. I'll never forget it because it was my first contact. We ran into 4 Viet Cong that were coming up our trail, but they were talking, and we heard them. So we got in cover, and they came into view, and we opened fire. The first bullet that whizzes by your ear reminds you that you are not immortal, that you can die. I found the biggest tree I could find, and that's where I wanted to stay, but we had to fight. It wound up they were bringing a prisoner with them. He had to hit the ground as soon as we started firing. He was captured from Alpha Company, and he told us how he had been knocked out by a grenade, that when he woke up they took him prisoner. He didn't know why they didn't just kill him. But he said they took him with them and went around every wounded soldier and shot him in the head. And he said he had to endure all of that. And he said then they were taking him to someplace else for interrogation, and that's when we met him. And Captain Daughtery ordered us to go back up the hill. We went back up the hill, and he called headquarters and said, I don't want to go because it's getting late. and let us dig in. And they agreed, let us dig in. So we dug in. There was three little fingers going down the hill. Fortunately, I got one that had steeper, but we stayed up there 3 days. They had us trapped, surrounded. They fired mortars in on us every morning. That's kind of what woke you up was thump, and you knew it was incoming, so they hollered incoming. We dug our foxholes. There was some blown timber around. And we stayed there and we fought them off 2 days. We were running low on ammunition. And when they thought, Captain Daugherty thought that they were going to overrun us, so he had all of us at one time, at the same time, drop down in our foxholes. And as they came in, artillery shells shot into us. And the shells they shot were called firecracker rounds. They explode over the ground and go out. They never go down. So he shot them on top of us to kill whoever was overrunning us. And then when that was over, we came out, and took our positions, stayed in our positions, and then the third day we were out of water. They tried to drop water and ammunition in, but they could only drop it from the helicopter. I remember seeing the helicopter up there one time, and that door gunner was sitting there shooting, and you could see the shells going boom, 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 and they hit him right across twice in the chest, and he fell back. And they dropped the water and the ammunition outside our perimeter. So we either have to do without, go out, or we have to go down and get it. And we always wondered what happened to the door gunner, And later they called back and said he had his flak jacket on that day, and it hit him twice in the flak jacket, and he was okay other than bruised. So it was good to know, little things. But the third day they gassed us. They dropped mortar gas in on us. I was digging a foxhole behind the lines because when they overrun us, we were the secondary they were going to take. And a little low helicopter, a little two-man helicopter flies in, goes around us, finds the mortar, and wipes them out. And that kind of breaks their back then. And the only thing that kept them off of us at night is they had what you call puffed Magic Dragon, Air Force, I think C-130 maybe, with a minigun. He knew our position, and all night long you could hear this brrr, and you could see the tracers brrr, and he went around us. One would run out of shells, and the next one would come in and shoot, and they kept them off of us that night, or the 2 nights. So that saved us there too. But then they ordered captain of we had a general that was flying around and watching the battle, and he ordered Captain Daugherty to get off the hill. And Captain Daugherty said, "Sir, I can't do that." He said, "They'll annihilate my men, and I'm not going to do that." And he said, "I'm giving you a direct order to do it, or I'll court-martial you." And he said, "No, sir, we're not coming off this hill because we'll all die." And it just so happens that there was another general higher than him listening. And he called, and he said, "Do not come off that hill." And he told the other general, "Get back to base camp. I have words for you." And that was General Abrams that was giving the orders there. So he helped, but Captain Daugherty made the decision, and he took it. And they never did anything to him. There was discussion, but he saved our bacon. If we'd have went off that hill, we'd have been wiped out, just like A Company. And I'd like, give him a special thanks because he's doing a good job. And I'm just glad I got back home. There were so many that didn't, and we had 6 dead in the there, and there wasn't but about half of us out of 100 walk off the hill. The rest of them were wounded, and they estimated we killed 400 or more, I believe. Estimations. A lot of the times you couldn't find the bodies because they'd find them and bury them. And back then it was body count. All was important was body count. That's how they were telling the war was going. And we got to walk off the hill and on to something else. But I mean, I was extremely glad to get home, and I feel for anybody that has to go through any of this. I've got 8 grandsons. I would hate to see them do it, but I know in my heart that somebody's got to protect us. Somebody's got to do their job. We can't all sit around here and be happy and eat pie. So I hope if they need to do their duty, they'll do it. And that's all I got.